as promised, I got out all the videos for the positional ranking overview week by week, updated through 6 weeks before the end of the games this week. Now, obviously, we've already watched the Packers play. We've watched the Vikings and the Lions play, and the Bears were on their bye. But there are some things we can take from this, and it actually lines up really well with where things are right now. So I am excited to show it. Just ranking offense, defense, every position. I'm going to put a link in the comments, in the description of the video for every one of those videos. So if you want to go check some of them out and go look at the past videos, already done. All of them are done. Did them over the weekend. Released very quickly, so I'm not shocked if you missed a bunch of them. But they're all in there. And here's where things lined up. So this is just a breakdown trying to make it equal, but I'm going to go straight past this. These numbers don't matter. What matters here at the end is where they stood in the end, where we ranked with each of them. And at the far right, bottom right, you see where they stood. And I'm just going to cruise through this. I like to show you guys my spreadsheet of how I... So here, there's some flaw to this analysis, okay? There's flaw to this. So to make it so that all positions are graded equally on the same scale, that's not realistic because each position isn't equally as important on the team for them to be successful. Obviously, we know a quarterback is very important to be able to have a successful quarterback, to be efficient, to be able to lead game-winning comebacks, to be able to have that on the team. So that's probably more important than your special teams, okay? But I've balanced all of these so they're equally important. And it does make it so it's a little skewed. So we'll work on this as we go through the 2/3 of the season. Maybe we'll come up with a new grading scale. I'm not PFF. I'm just trying to make sense of it and make it fun so that we can grade where we gauge against the rest of the NFC North. As we go into, the reason I did this is as we go into the second, third, and into the last third of the season, that's when we hit all of our divisional games. And I don't know how we're going to do. We just watched the Lions and the Vikings play each other. And they obviously went toe-to-toe the entire game, and it came down to the very end. So I don't know how we're going to do. I know that nobody else knows how we're going to do, but it's going to be a lot of fun to watch those games. That's what this season is going to come down to, and it's going to come down to Caleb's birthday against the Packers, Week 11. That's where the rubber's going to meet the road, and we can finally be able to get that monkey off our back, and Packers fans will finally shut up because they're freaking annoying, and they can just go to the basement and dwell there because that's where this is headed. Am I bitter? Am I upset? Yeah, I hate Packers fans. I probably hate Packers fans more than anybody else in the entire world. I absolutely loathe them. I think they're terrible, despicable, unknowledgeable, idiot fan base. They're just stupid. So Packers fans, if you're watching, I don't want you to watch my channel because you'll probably get a real dose of reality of how your team is and where they stand because they are the bottom, they are the basement of the NFC North. So here's the defensive side of it and special teams. So let me just break down. There's the total. So that's where things stand. And it's actually pretty realistic with how teams have done so far. You see the cumulative grade at the bottom as I've balanced it all out to make each position equal, which I've already said it's not realistic for that to happen. But if we're gauging every position, doing position by position ranking and seeing where they stand, this is where things stand through 6 weeks. So the Lions are the best team in the NFC North. The Bears the second best. The Vikings third best, and the Packers fourth best. This is not taking into consideration records. This is taking into consideration how individual players in individual positions, positional groups have played, how they stack up to other positional groups within the NFC North, how they stack up against each other, how we rank against other teams in the NFC North. And the Lions, according to this, would be the best team in the NFC North. The Bears 2, the Vikings 3, and the Packers 4. And that's how it lines up as we go through the entire grading of it. So how does that rank up against where PFF has us ranked overall through 6 weeks? Well, they've got the Lions as the best team in the division, the Vikings the second best team in the division, Bears third, and the Packers fourth in the basement, in the gutter, as they should be. So that's how they've ranked it out through 6 weeks. So it's not completely off base. I mean, it's right there. So I know this is taking the bias out of it. This is simply off of grading of the teams and their stats and where things stand. And then if we bring the entire picture, this is the overall grades, the offensive grades for the teams, the defensive grades, and the special teams grade. And the Lions are leading every category through 6 weeks in the division. You can see the Bears are number 2 in defensive grade, number 2 in special teams, but offensive grade last. And then the Vikings are third in offensive grade, third in defensive grade, third in special teams, but second in overall grade. So if you're taking individual groups, you can see why the Bears would be ranked ahead of the Vikings in my rankings. We'll see if that comes true to play. We'll see if week 12, when I do this 2/3 of the way through the season, if the Bears have overtaken the Vikings, because according to what I've done by position, if the Bears are the better team position-wise, talent-wise, as we go in to the rest of this season, by 2/3 mark, we should be overtaking the Vikings. And then as we hit the divisional games, we should, be behind the Lions, ahead of the Vikings, and ahead of the Packers. We should sweep the Packers, realistically. I mean, I know nobody sees it that way. Nobody agrees with me as I put that on Twitter. But we are so much more talented in every key metric area, especially when you take quarterback play with our defensive line, our secondary, and our cornerbacks, how they match up against Jordan Love. It's going to be the biggest mismatch of the year. The only thing that helps them out is their coaches. Now, I think absolutely so far, Shane Waldron has shown that incremental increase to show that he can stay toe-to-toe with them as well. And then our defensive coach, obviously Matt Eberflus, is one of the best in the entire NFL. So we should be able to contain Jordan Love, and then we should be able to run it and throw it on their secondary, on their linebacker core, on their line. We should be able to handle them fairly easily. So of all the groups here, the Lions, the Vikings, the Bears, the Packers, I'm most confident we'll sweep the Packers. The Vikings, it's 50-50 chance. And the Lions, we should be glad to get one. Every Bears fan, this is one of the things that kind of bothers me, is we should have swept the Lions last year, and we had the Vikings in the second game. It was truly a 50-50, and then Packers killed us. That's all true. It was a totally different year last year. This team, how it lines up, how it stacks up, we are significantly better in every personnel group, almost every personnel group. But head-to-head, we really match up really well with the Packers. This should absolutely be a slaughter fest. We should take them behind the woodshed and give them retribution for the last 5 years of them winning 10 straight games. This is the time for the Bears. So I'm not worried about the Packers. I am more worried about the Vikings and their defense, and Kevin O'Connell and his play calling, and the Lions and their defense, and the Lions and their offense, and the Lions and the way they're well-rounded. Like, I am more worried about the Lions this year. And we should be. 100% we should be, because the Lions are a more well-rounded group. I truly think, especially after you watch the Lions and Vikings game last night or yesterday, the Lions are truly one of the biggest juggernauts in the NFL right now. They are toe-to-toe with the Chiefs. In fact, I think they're probably better than the Chiefs, but I can't dethrone the Chiefs from the number one spot until the Chiefs lose a game. So that's just realistically where we stand as we head into divisional play in Week 11. So after Week 12, I'll do my next video. So we'll have 2 divisional games out of the way, and most teams will have a couple of divisional games under their belt. Most, maybe half their divisional games by that point. So this is where the Bears stand, though. I'm very pleased with the way this came out. After putting all the input in and breaking them all down with all the data, I really feel like this is realistic with where this should end. I'd be happy if we went 50-50 with the Lions, happy if we went 50-50 with the Vikings, and swept the Packers. That's 4-2 in division. That should leave us right around a 12-5 mark, roughly. And if the Lions are 13-4, the Vikings are 11-6, and the Packers probably 9-8, that's probably realistic to where this season ends with these teams, that 1, 2, 3, 4. That's probably pretty realistic. So let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments, though. I know this is a different way to do it. I know this doesn't mean anything about the whole everything graded out equally and blah, blah, blah. It doesn't all line up, but it's fun to watch position by position where they end up being ranked overall in the end. There's the defense, there's the offense, and no, it's not a clean, perfect, measured way to do it. No, it's not exact science, but when you're breaking them down against the other divisional opponents, it's kind of fun for me to do this, and I like seeing it because it really gives me confidence, little faith, I guess, a little hope that we're going to go into this Packers game and absolutely slaughter them and then have a shot against the Vikings and the Lions with where it stands. But things start this week against the Commanders. This is going to be the first real big true test. The Commanders have played really well, 5-2, and they just absolutely shellacked the Panthers. So I'll do a preview of that this week as well, and we'll get into the game this next week, and that's going to be a lot of fun. On the road, it's going to be tough. Caleb at home, though. We'll get more into that. But let me know what you guys think about this and where we stand in the division. What worries you the most? Because most fans are worried about the Packers because we've lost 10 in a row. It means nothing. That's in the past. Those are teams of the past. They've got a great coach. So do the Vikings. So do the Lions. But so do the Bears. I know a lot of Bears fans don't feel that way yet. But he's absolutely killed it with the defense. This is going to be a big test for that when you see what the Commanders have done so far. And then Shane Waldron has absolutely stepped up his game, and he's doing really well. And we've got the bye week, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Let me know what you guys think, though. We'll have a lot coming out this week. And until next time, dabears.